Happy New Year, everybody. We made it to 2026. I still think it is a fake date. Nobody can convince me otherwise. It just feels weird. But hey, we're here. We've arrived. Hope you're all doing well as we get into this new cycle and kind of turning the page, as it were. So as we get into our newsletter topics for this month, we got a couple different things that are new. Some Chrome tricks. We got our AI tip of the month that we'll explore another feature in Gemini. And then some helpful reminders that this is the kind of time of year that we have some cleanup things that we like to remind everybody of. So I'm going to kind of dive right in and get into the cleanup side of things. Some of you may already be in the habits of doing what I'm gonna go through here, just as some reminders. If you're not, though, these are things that can be an ongoing task for sure. But a couple of the cleanup things I'd recommend doing at least once a month, if not more often, just because how much stuff we got going on these days. So, tip number one is just this idea of cleaning up your browser history. Cookies, the cache, the image things, all the stuff that kind of piles up over time can slow down your browser experience, sometimes make websites not load the way we want them to. So if you haven't in a while, hit the triple dots in Chrome, do your delete browsing data, and choose all time from that. Again, it does not get rid of passwords that you may have saved, but it clears up all the stuff that we just don't need anymore as we browse the internet. Clean up your downloads folder. As we get things from email, as we grab things from websites and other resources, that downloads folder gets piled up as well. So whether you're on a Chromebook or a Mac or a PC, we all have a downloads folder that just saves things until we do something with them. More often than not, we just look at it and then we're done, or we've looked at it and moved it to an appropriate location, or we reference the email again if we need it. And so if you haven't in a while, visit your downloads folder, clear up the contents from there, empty your trash or recycle bin as well, and then you'll have a little bit fresher view whenever you go peruse the things that you've downloaded. Bookmark management. A lot of times as we're browsing the internet, we save bookmarks for later reference, and a lot of times they're just piled in a big list, not too dissimilar to our downloads folder problem. And so we'd recommend spending a little time to organize those bookmarks. You can do it in a bunch of different ways. It's just like file management in your Google Drive, where you can create folders. You can put them in the different locations, like in the bar, or hide them off to the side. It's a great way to not only label things appropriately, but also have them organized so you can actually use them to your advantage. And so if you haven't in a while, go ahead to your triple dots and head to your bookmarks and lists, and you have the option to go to the bookmark manager. And in there is where you can create folders, rename things, delete things if they're not helpful, and just kind of get a curated, cleaned up list from there. And then, of course, speaking of Google Drive organization, the never-ending battle of file management, spend a little time getting rid of some stuff. Throw some folders together. If you haven't done a little cleanup work for the things that we've created and crafted over the last couple months, now's a great time to do that. Get yourself squared away and set up well to finish the year well. And then finally, good old inbox cleanup. Emails pile in all the time, never ending, of course, nature of the things, but it is both a sanity help and a productivity boost as well to have an organized inbox. I think I mentioned a few times before over the years that a bunch of us in technology operate on the 10 inbox rule. We try to keep that inbox in a good sense, so that when we're looking at it, we're not scrolling all the time. We're able to find actionable things quickly, and we're able to react to the things that we need to, just by keeping a clean inbox. And so if you have any need for assistance with a strategy or anything like that, feel free to throw in a support ticket or book a training appointment. We'd be happy to talk through some strategies. There's some great filters we can use within Gmail to quickly organize things, use labels to our advantage, and just general day-to-day stuff on how to take action on the things that come in. All right, so enjoy all those cleanup tasks as you start the year fresh. And then again, these are some monthly things you might want to keep an eye on as well, especially when it comes to browser cleanup and your downloads folder. The next thing I want to talk about is a new feature you might have seen pop up in Chrome the last few weeks. They've added a feature to automatically split tabs. So if we have ever run into that thing where you want to view two things side by side, we've always been able to do that by, like dragging a window out and resizing it manually and doing all those things. But that can certainly be a pain sometimes. And so now, just from a right click or two finger click, you can add a tab or a link to a split view. And if you do that, it automatically puts it on half the screen, and then it asks you, what else do you want to put in the other half? And so I can come right in here, and maybe I'm doing the little perusing of the curriculum newsletter, and I need to keep an eye on another document that I'm working on here. I automatically, with two clicks, have a split view, and then I can even resize the middle just to kind of compare and contrast as needed. It's a great option to work through here. I can still navigate to other websites just by clicking in the appropriate spot, and they're both live websites. It's a great feature there. And then I can right click again on that little split view group up here. I can separate them, I can close them, I can switch them. Some nice options that we have built into Chrome now, just with that split view option. So definitely take advantage of that for your productivity. Okay, and then finally, let's talk about our AI tip of the month. Last month, we talked about using Notebook LM, and that's kind of a side feature of our Gemini AI where it let us create a curated AI experience where we created a digital notebook, we gave it resources, and then the AI content is curated just from those resources alone, not using the internet at all. And so it's a great way to analyze documents, to create a closed AI experience, if you will. And so definitely, if you haven't played around with that yet, it's a great feature to explore and utilize. Today, I want to talk about a feature called Gems in Gemini. And so this kind of takes the idea of Notebook LM, but combines it with what Gemini can do for us. So Gemini on its own, naturally, it's an AI engine, uses the entirety of the internet. And so it's very open-ended with the prompts and the things we can do. Whereas Notebook LM is a completely closed environment. It only uses the resources that we provide to it. What a gem does is almost lets us do both at the same time. It lets us curate a voice or curate a character, if you will, of our AI experience. And they have some templates built in here that may not necessarily apply to us in education, but they could be a good way to just kind of explore what it works or how it works. But I'm just going to click the new gem button and kind of talk through what this is. And I gave a couple of examples in the newsletter of maybe you'd use it for communication, or maybe you use it as a data analysis tool, or you use it as a lesson plan or recreation to do some differentiated learning or something. So there's endless possibilities of what it is, but basically what you would do is you'd give your gem a name, you describe and tell the AI engine a basic of what it is and what it does, and then you give it some instructions. And so if I'm using that communication example, maybe I'd call it communication just so I can quickly grab it again. Create weekly newsletters. And then the instructions is where I would tell it to what parameters I want it to work with. And this is where you can say, hey, I'm a teacher that speaks to an urban community, and I want to give helpful reminders to my students and parents in a warm, friendly tone. As just an example. And I'd write that in here. But beyond that, just as a basic description here, I can then add files that Gemini would reference. So maybe I have a listed SMART goal of the types of communication that I would use. Maybe I have a list of of contacts that I would work with. Maybe I have examples of the types of communications that I like. I would add those as references and resource guides for this gem or this tool to use. And then what happens is I can reuse this gem and this character over and over again. And it will basically focus the attention of the AI engine to use the lens that I gave it. So instead of it being 100% open-ended AI and the whole internet, it starts to focus the conversation. It focuses the feedback. It can focus the tools and the resources if you've added some files to it. And it gives you a slightly more curated experience without being completely closed, as in the Notebook LM example. So to me, it's a super interesting way to use the AI tools here. I've created a couple on my own, just doing my professional role here and doing the things I do as a church musician, just to kind of see how it works. And it's a very interesting approach to using AI, because we get to tailor its responses to create that like character or that experience to focus it a little bit more. So just play around with those gems. They're available right from the side of your Gemini menu. Click on gems, create it, and then you'll see all the ones you list from there, and start hopefully being a little more productive with that tool. Okay, and that's all we have for January. I hope you're all doing well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you next month.